Hello, everybody. It is your girl, Dayna Patreace, aka the Black Fairy, and this is my channel, Black Fairy Tings, where we are empowering women, deconstructing the patriarchy, and learning to manifest and love ourselves to the fullest. Welcome to my channel. This particular video is going to be about a question that was posed. I saw it on TikTok. I did a duet with the TikTok. And on Instagram, the boys were crying. Okay, they were crying. So this video is going through a lot of the fallacies that were spewed in the comments about women's capabilities and whether or not they really are truly needed for protection, right? So we're going to play the intro and then we're going to get into it.
Yes. I fall in love with myself, and I want someone to share it with me. I want someone to share me with me.
Okay, y'all. So, as I said, this video is going to go through a question that was posed, right? If there were no men, who would women need protection from? Let's face it, y'all. Statistically, men are women's biggest predators. And that's not to say that there's nothing else that we would need protection from. But the thing is, we would be able to protect ourselves from those things, okay? There were about 6 things that were probably highly repeated over and over again that I want to pretty much debunk, right? So all you out there, don't get mad at me. I'm coming with facts. You know what I mean? So yeah, don't be mad at me, y'all. Don't be mad at me. Let's see. So let's actually start with the actual duet. Let me share my screen. I'll show you the video that had everyone else in an outrage. Let's do this. Okay, so this is not the video, but I just wanted to make sure. Let me go to my videos. And here it is. Now on TikTok, it doesn't have a lot of views right now on.
So what's with like this girl was like, women would thrive in a world without.
Sorry, but on Instagram was where everything got heated. The video's at over 30K, but because I opened up TikTok just because there's the first video that I'm going to play for you is from a TikTok video. So I just came over here. So let's get into it. Let's pull this back.
So what's with
Oh,
like
wait.
this girl was like,
why is it so low? Hold on, y'all. Let me turn the volume up. It is up. Is it me then? What's going on? Oops.
Next person walk out my life, I'm going with them.
1 second. All right, let's get into it.
So what's with like this girl was like, women would.
Oh my God.
Protect them, and then she was like, protect them from what?
I may have to edit this out.
And I was like, yeah, protect them. So what's with like this girl was like, women would thrive in a world without men, and then this guy was like, okay, but like who would protect them? And then she was like, protect them from what? And I was like, yeah, protect them from what? Because the only danger is the hombres. The only real danger for women and femmes is... I saw a tweet with like this girl was like, women would thrive in a world without men, and then this guy was like, okay, but like who would protect them? And then she was like, protect them from what? And I was like, yeah, protect them from what? Because the only danger is the hombres. The only real danger for women and femmes is... I saw a tweet with like this girl was like, women would thrive in a world without men.
So I did this just because I thought it was funny, right? Like I thought.
And then this guy was like, okay, but like,
hold on, y'all.
Them. And then she was like,
there we go. Okay. Oh my gosh, what is going on?
What could be worse than the Mr. Evil Guy?
Me is worst,
said the Mr. Super Evil Guy.
Hold on.
Little did he.
Sorry, that was funny. I'm having like super technical difficulties right now. But I'm not going to let that bother me. Well, I'll pull it back up when need be. So, as you heard, that's what had them in a scuffle. This duet, this short little duet of a man who, and I don't want to say this, but obviously everyone's like, oh, he's homosexual. What does he know? He knows men. He's around men. He dates men. So I don't understand the issue. But anyways, the point was flying over everybody's heads. Everybody was in their feelings, making allegations. So let's go through these fallacies one by one. I chose 6. And let's get into it. So the first one would be that I saw a lot of was animal attacks, right? Women couldn't survive without men because of animal attacks. They wouldn't be able to hunt, etc. And I debunked this with like, no, actually, like prior to patriarchal rule, right, which has only been around for 8 to 10,000 years, women actually did hunt. Women were allowed to hunt. They were taught to hunt. And honestly, the women in those matriarchal communities were the ones who taught even the young girls and boys how to hunt. I'm going to pull that up for us right now. Give me a moment. And again, present, share screen. TikTok, share. Then we're going to go to my favorites. And we're going to scroll down.
All right, I'm not sure if
Okay, and we're going to go to this video right here. And he's going to explain it to us.
Told that in prehistoric society, men were hunters and women were gatherers. It turns out that that's just not true. A team of researchers just looked through 63 different prehistoric societies and found that women hunted in most of them. Not only that, but women were really good hunters because they hunted without ego. Men tried to hunt solo or in pairs, but women would group up. They did whatever was best for the situation, even using animals like dogs to help them hunting. They were cooperative. Not only that, but the women were the teachers of the hunters. They had the lore and the knowledge, and they taught the other hunters, men and women. And not only that, but guess who the best hunter in many of these tribes was? Guess who? It was grandma. Grandma had the most skills. Grandma was the most revered hunter in many of these societies. Don't get me wrong, men were good hunters too. The evidence shows that when it comes to hunting large game, men and women were about on even footing. Like literally 50% of large game hunting was done by men and 50% by women. And do you know where the idea of men hunter, women gatherer came from in the first place? It came from insecure male researchers introducing a bias. You see, what happened was a lot of this evidence comes from how people were buried with their hunting tools, right? Revered hunters were typically buried with their tools, but this is like tens of thousands of years ago. So stuff decays and falls apart. And what happened was when you found like an arrowhead next to a male corpse, the male researchers were like, yeah, that was definitely a hunter. But when they would find the same type of arrowhead or whatever buried next to a female corpse, they would be like, not sure that was a hunter. That might be some sort of kitchen implement. It was literally that type of insecurity that introduced this bias into the research in the first place. So yeah, we basically have scientific evidence that men have been insecure for 200,000 years. You know how we've always been told that in prehistoric society, men were hunters and women were gatherers? It turns out that that's just not true. A team of researchers.
So, as we can see, that shit ain't true. Okay? As we can see, that shit ain't true. Women have the ability to hunt. In fact, we were amazing at it before we were enslaved by men. And that's what I kind of feel like a lot of people are missing. Women for the past tens of thousands of years have been oppressed by men, enslaved by men, dominated by men, not allowing women to do these things, to participate in these things. Because and my theory is they know that if women were on an equal footing with men, that we would thrive and we would be better, just like in those days. What he described to me reminded me of how the lioness tribes, right? If you look at lions and lioness, the lionesses do the hunting. Male lions aren't really that good. They protect the tribe, but that's about it. The women practically do everything else, right? And even the grandmother, they help those young cubs, especially the boys, learn to hunt on their own so that when they leave the lion tribe, they can survive, right? The grandmother usually goes with them because she's, older, wiser, but also she's on her way out the door, right? She's on her way out the door. So she goes with the young cubs and enables them. I saw this in a documentary on YouTube about lions. I had this whole, I don't know, I wouldn't call it an obsession, but I was just like really interested, especially when I found out, lions don't live in jungles, and the whole lions, especially with men, like they take this pride with referring to themselves as lions, but lions, they're lazy. They're not in jungles, and they often have to battle it out for survival. They have to find a lioness tribe of women that will accept them. And even in so, they have to battle that lead male lion of that tribe, right? In order to have their place. And then if he does win over the male lion, then even the lioness turn on that lion and they kill him together. But anyways, I don't think I can unalive him together, sorry. But yes. So this whole idea that women couldn't do it, well, what would we do? We don't have the resource, we don't have the brain power to make tools, to hunt. We do. And the only reason why it's not maybe in our element and you don't see it anymore is because of men. They don't allow it. They make it super uncomfortable for women in those workplaces areas. Even now you see that even though there's a lot of women who want to get into construction, they do have a lot of workplace harassment that they go through and things like that. So men literally push us out, keep us out, and don't allow us to contribute. If they had, right, they would see that not only would we thrive, we would definitely survive. So my next point is to the fact that the second thing that was posed to me as I guess some sort of debate as to whether women need men, especially in regards to protection, was women don't know how to make weapons. Women wouldn't have any weapons, right? Like, women, how would you protect yourself? Well, even in that video that I showed you, he did quickly tap into that. He actually said that women were not only creating tools and inventing tools, that they use them, right? So I also did, I'm going to share my screen again. Share screen. I also did a video, a Google search of, did women contribute to the invention of weapons? And I'm going to add that to the stage now. And look, the AI overview says, yes, women contributed to the invention of weapons in many ways, right? Including, they reference the Manhattan Project, where women held many roles, including pipe fitting, machine operation, inspection, and nursing. They worked as doctors, physicists, chemists, and engineers. World War I, women worked as munitions factories, producing and distributing weapons. They were called Money-Tonettes and Canary Girls, right? World War II, women worked in factories, on airfields, on farms. They built parts for ships and aircrafts and manufactured ammunition, right? And there was many other ways that they contributed to the war efforts. I'd also like to say that war is a very much male thing. Women don't have a large tendency to be involved in regard, like, there's no high rates of women being violent. I'm not saying women aren't violent at all, but there's no high rates of being violent. Most violent crimes are committed by men. So if the question is, if there were no men, who would women need protection from? We may not need weapons to protect from each other, because that's not how we kind of resolve our issues and deal with each other naturally. It is not women's first instinct to become physical, right? And you may say, oh, I see it all the time. I'm not saying no women do this. And you also have to attribute, this is a patriarchal world with misogynistic views, and a lot of women have internalized misogyny. And even those women, I'm willing to bet that if you were to look at their past, they have a lot of trauma dealing with men and the violence accused against them, right? By even, again, that internalized misogyny. So again, no men, no patriarchy, no misogyny, right? We're talking about this as a world. So I really don't think war would be a real thing in this, the way that it is today amongst women, right? So that was the second thing. Now I am going to just take a quick break while I pull up some more information for the next questions. I'll be right back. Just bear with me a moment. Hey, you guys, it's your girl, Dayna Patreace, aka the Black Fairy. And I am just here to remind you, please like, share, comment, subscribe, okay? Click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos or any new lives, okay? I will be coming here with more and more information, so please, you don't want to miss out. And this is just a quick reminder and a quick thank you, because it's a free way to support the channel and to support me. I love y'all. Okay, awesome. So the next part of this, another question, because it was like, oh, women are just as violent. Women prisons aren't a thing. Women prisons aren't a thing. That was another thing that I saw endlessly along the timeline from several different men that were in their feelings about the idea of a world without them, right? But as you can see here, women aren't in prison at high rates for violent crimes, right? Women are often incarcerated for low-level offenses, but there are many factors that contribute to women's incarceration, including poverty, right? Mental illness, domestic violence, right? Research shows that incarcerated women are overwhelmingly victims of domestic violence. And I think when they say that is because when you do find women that have unalived women, it's due to the overwhelmingly victims. They're usually domestic violence victims, right? There's also a lot of discriminatory laws, right? Substance use is another. And again, history of abuse. So women offenders are more likely to have a history of physical and or sexual abuse if they are incarcerated, right? And there's other factors, right? Social inclusion, self-injury, attempted unaliving, single parenting, lack of access to affordable childcare, lack of access to employment opportunities, right? The number of women and girls in prison has grown by 60%, which is nearly 3 times the increase in the male prison population. And it is because of these things. But we notice that, again, often incarcerated for low-level offenses, right? And then, again, we saw. So this idea, again, when you compare the prison rates in regards to women being there for violent crimes, it really just isn't there, right? It's just not. Let's see. So I actually also wanted to check out what the comparison was. Okay. And I believe I asked, what is the comparison of women, okay, in comparison to men? See, I did look this stuff up before, obviously, because I wanted to make sure that it resonated. Okay, the AI overview. Men are more likely to be incarcerated for violent crimes than women. Rate of violent offending. In the general population, the rate of violent offending is about 1 violent offender for every 9 males aged 10 or older, compared to about 1 violent offender for every 56 females ages 10 or older. Men are over 8 times more likely than women to be incarcerated at least once in their lifetime. It says women are more likely to be arrested and convicted for less serious crimes than men, such as property crimes. Women accused of violent crimes are often accused of committing the offense in the context of family violence or intimate partner violence, right? Compared with men, women represent a small portion of those accused of police-reported criminal incidents. Women also tend to be arrested and convicted for less serious crimes than men. For example, violent crimes account for a smaller portion of crimes with a female accused than for crimes with a male accused, right? And that's from justicegc.ca. I am Canadian, Jamaican, so the research will reflect that. And if you guys are going to say, well, I'm in the States, don't try it, because your numbers aren't showing anything particularly all that different in regards to this topic. So we're not going to go there with that. At the end of the day, you can see alone, and you can do your own research, that this is not a thing, okay? Women are not inherently violent. Another thing, right? And we're actually, I have another video that I'm excited about as well. That's gonna go more into this. So I'm just doing this because, like, that video, I don't understand all the crying, all the crying, okay? Another reason men said women need other men is to protect us from other women, right? And I'm not saying women aren't a danger to other women, but again, because we are less inherently violent, I don't even think, like, at first glance, I was like, I've never seen a man break up a fight between women in my life. Most of the time, they're cheering it on. They're gathering more men to watch and spectate. They are filming it. They are posting it. And yes, women film and post it too. But who's more likely to protect women from other women? So let's see. Men. Hold on. What did I say? Men protect women from other women. Do men protect women from other women? No, men are not the protectors of women, but rather allies. Instead of thinking themselves as protectors, men should view women as equals and empower them. So this is not like, here's some other ideas about relationships between men and women. It's not should men. Hold on. I want to write it exactly how I did before. Trying to see. Okay, so it even goes into the idea of men are responsible for protecting women from other women is a patriarchal notion that validates male dominance and reinforces gender stereotypes, right? This is an ideology created by patriarchy that justifies male superiority and rejects equal structures in public and private spheres. It says internalized misogyny, when women subconsciously project sexist ideas onto other women and even onto themselves, right? So are men protecting women from other women? I'm trying to get the answer that I got before, but I'm obviously not using the same wording. This is not what I'm looking for. Give me a moment, y'all. Okay, so I found it. So, do men commonly intervene in instances of women-on-women violence, right? Do men commonly intervene with woman-on-woman violence? No. Men are less likely to intervene in instances of woman-on-woman violence than women. A systematic review of 85 studies found that women are more likely to intervene than men. The dominant model for bystander intervention identifies 5 steps, including noticing the situation, identifying it as an emergency, and taking responsibility to act. Right? So then it goes into men's violence. But I wanted to know who interceded, like who's more likely to intervene. And clearly, it's showing you here, right? And it's not to say men don't ever intervene. Again, this is not an all type thing, but the likelihood, right? Again, just like the question is about the likelihood of women having threats, such as the threat that we face from men around us, right? Women, y'all don't do that. You do not intervene. You don't intervene. You don't protect us from each other. In fact, I'm willing to bet it's more likely that men are more of the spectrum of keeping us apart. They want us to hate each other, right? How could patriarchy work if we love each other and are willing to work together? These misogynistic tropes and views help hold up the patriarchy, right? And these women, as we read a little bit earlier on, that have internalized misogyny also help spread these tropes. They want us to have internalized misogyny. It helps them further the agenda of keeping us separate and apart and not really coming together the way that we should. I do feel like more and more women are waking up to this, though. We're waking up to it more and more, which again, is a good thing. I'm for women empowerment. I'm for women coming together more, right? I feel like we have this heavy dependence on men that we shouldn't have, but I do think it is from indoctrination. Okay, so we're going to take another quick break while I pull up the rest of this. I'm going to pull up the information for the next part of my little video. I'll be right back.
Hey y'all, do you need a gratitude journal? Well, if you do, me, myself, and I, Dayna Patreace, aka the Black Fairy, have gratitude journals available for sale in the link below. They go for $6.99 USD, and no worries, by clicking the link in the bio, it will send you straight to your country and to your currency. So don't worry about that. But just to give you a rough estimate, it is $6.99. Now, if you didn't know, gratitude is one of the best ways to not only affirm what it is that you want in your life, but to affirm what it is you want to see in your life. With that being said, this is a great tool and opportunity for you to take a part of. It's an inexpensive way for you to tap into the law of attraction. I highly, highly recommend it. And I love y'all. Link in the bio below.
Okay, y'all. So the last one is that this idea that we aren't creators and inventors, and that's another reason why we wouldn't survive. Like, we wouldn't have the infrastructure that we have now if it weren't for women. So I asked Google, I'm sorry. Oh, hold on. This is why it's coming up with something. I was like, I can't find the article that I wanted. What I wanted was inventions by women. Well, start right by women, and then I'll go into the fact that a lot of men actually steal inventions from women, right? So was this the one? I think this might have been the one that I looked into. So this is the top 101 female inventions that changed the world in women's innovation history. So we have the airplane muffler. A woman created that. Alphabet blocks, right? The aquarium, the Apgar score, the Barbie doll. Beer was even created by women. That's something I didn't know. The birth control pill, also created by women. The bra. We have the bliss symbol printer, right? A 12-year-old from Ontario, Canada, invented a device that became very useful for people dealing with communication difficulties, right? So women, when allowed to contribute, do contribute. Bulletproof fiber, right? The call center system. It's call waiting and caller ID. Cardiovascular drugs. The car heater. Central heating. And men think that we need them, right? We wouldn't survive winter, they said. But it's a woman who invented central heating, right? Chemotherapy, child carriers, the chocolate chip cookie, the circular saw, a clothes wringer, the coffee filter, the computer algorithm, y'all, the computer software. They literally crying saying women don't know how to invent technology, but we created the computer algorithm, the computer software, conditioner for black hair, also by a woman, the curling iron. Look, the CRISPR gene editing, y'all, the diagnostic test strips, the dishwasher, the disposable diaper, the electric water heater, the electric refrigerator, okay? Goes on and on. Electron microscopy, feeding tubes, fire escapes, folding cabinet bed, foot pedestal trash cans, fruit presses, geobond, GIF animation. I could go on and on and on. And as I scroll, you can see, right? Home security systems. These men say we can't protect ourselves. Look at this. We have been the creators of so much. And that's not even including the inventions that were taken from us and men took credit for. Stealing from women. We definitely have the bandwidth and the brain power to survive without them. We definitely do. It baffled me because it's not listed here. Well, I didn't go all the way down. It was 101. We're at 50. We're about halfway through. But these men are complaining on the internet, most likely using Wi-Fi, which was also created by a woman, invented by a woman. So these fallacies are just patriarchal, misogynistic tropes that these men are using to try to act as though, you know, women could do nothing without them. When again, it is my belief that we would in fact thrive, right? We would in fact thrive. And then I wanted to also ask Google, we'll go back, right? Inventions by women that were stolen by men. That men took credit for, we'll say that. Many women had invented things that men took credit for. Windshield wipers, again, the computer algorithm. Hold on, it's still, I wonder why my shit's so slow right now. Maybe it's because I'm sharing my screen. Hold on, y'all, it's pulling it up. But a lot of men have taken credit for what we have done for society, right? And it's sad that men look at their mothers and daughters and sisters and aunties and think that they're so incapable, that they're so slow. Like the way that the vitriol. And a lot of these men have like families in their pictures, right? Their profile pictures, daughters. And they're talking about women as if they're not around them, right? It's sad. It's sad. Because I'm just like, would you tell your daughters that? I kind of feel like they don't. I'm pretty sure that their wives have no idea, that they think that they're this slow, right? And yet we live in a world where we make less money, we face constant sexism, and have to deal, it's so funny, this like have to deal with periods on a once a month. This article continues to say, and on top of that, these women had to deal with getting no credit for all their hard work. So let's set the record straight once and for all. From Wi-Fi to diapers, it turns out we can thank women for a lot, which is just like, duh, of course, right? Wireless communication, right? Cure for leprosy. Again, disposable diapers. These are things that were credited to men, y'all. The game Monopoly, right? We don't know nothing about money and economics, right? But a woman created a whole game just about that. Dark matter. The square-bottomed paper bag. Computer programming language. Right? And so much more as we look throughout time. Microbial genetics. I mean, pulsars, right? Nuclear physics. And it's funny because men actually talked about that. You guys couldn't do the nuclear plants and you guys couldn't handle this stuff. One thing for sure that I think if it weren't for men, because women have such high empathy and we have a lot of more care for this planet, that we would have discovered and implemented better ways to serve us, which we know that there are, but men refuse to change over because they can't make as much money off it, is better ways to live and thrive. You know what I mean? We probably would have been had solar panels, solar energy. We probably would have been had free energy and things like that if women were in charge, just because of the high empathy that we naturally have, right? And people, I'm going to actually do a video on that as well. I'm calling it, our women are superior. Here's why I think so. And we'll go into a deeper dive into that. But I'm going to leave this right here, right? I'm going to come back with a conclusion.
Hey, you guys. It's your girl, Dayna Patreace, a.k.a. The Black Fairy. And this is just a quick reminder to please like, share, comment, okay? Subscribe, click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any lives or new videos that I'm posting, and I promise to be posting more than ever now. And that is just a free way to help support me and support this channel, and it costs you nothing, okay? So without further ado, this quick reminder is now over. Thank you for watching.
So in conclusion, other than the possible extinction of the human race, which is not women's responsibility to carry, and honestly might be best for this beautiful planet that we live on, women would probably thrive without men. We are capable of all the positions we face as human beings, and the only reason we haven't contributed to recent years in the same capacity as men is because we weren't allowed to be. And when we did, it was stolen or heavily concealed that our participation was not only required, but helped them thrive. Okay, so women, yes, if there were no men, we would thrive. And I wish more women would see this, because even in my comment section, there were women that were like, I know that I could do this, but I just don't want to. I would rather have a man do it for me. And it's this idea that, what I love about the idea of a matriarchy is that you don't have to do the jobs that you don't want to do. There's probably a woman who's willing to do it and could probably do it well, right? We could all list jobs according to what we want to do. And we would have the freedom to have choices in those things. We wouldn't just be, no, you got to be the wife that stays at home and cooks and cleans and takes care of the children. But matriarchies are actually egalitarian, meaning that everybody is equal. Everybody helps. Everybody helps with the children. Everybody helps with the workload. We're all working together. You know, when you think of it from a patriarchal view, I can understand why you feel that way, because it's very much you're on your own. Your family is your family. That head of household is the man. And you're looking to the man to help you in ways that usually women would help each other. But again, they don't want us to have community amongst women. It doesn't help them. In fact, it further helps us remove them from the equation. Another thing I don't understand is that a lot of men seem to think that matriarchy is reverse patriarchy. Again, matriarchy, the way that I would want to see it, would be an egalitarian. So even if men did exist, men wouldn't have all of the workload on their shoulders to provide, because we are all helping each other, right? There are matriarchal communities that work this way that are still around today. I'll also be doing a video on that. But this was just in regards to this. It was very interesting to see the crash out on my Instagram in regards to all these fallacies and just weird beliefs about what women are actually capable of. I think it's funny that men think that they are better than the creator of men, which is women, right? We give birth to y'all. So... And that's not all we're good for, right? We saw that at the beginning. So I actually want to end this video with the same video that I started with to drive this point home, right? Which is the video about matriarchies in that time. Oop. 1 second, I actually stopped sharing. Let me present again. Share screen. TikTok. Share. Let me put you on stage. So one last time for the fools in the back. There's a lot of Christians. Okay. For the fools in the
Assalamu alaikum. So we have Sister here, and she is the expert.
There's a specific story in the Bible that we're not only.
So the woman who was set on fire and burned to death on the New York City subway was identified as.
All right. Take it away.
You know how we've always been told that in prehistoric society, men were hunters and women were gatherers? It turns out that that's just not true. A team of researchers just looked through 63 different prehistoric societies and found that women hunted in most of them. Not only that, but women were really good hunters because they hunted without ego. Men tried to hunt solo or in pairs, but women would group up. They did whatever was best for the situation, even using animals like dogs to help them hunting. They were cooperative. Not only that, but the women were the teachers of the hunters. They had the lore and the knowledge, and they taught the other hunters, men and women. And not only that, but guess who the best hunter in many of these tribes was? Guess who? It was grandma. Grandma had the most skills. Grandma was the most revered hunter in many of these societies. Don't get me wrong, men were good hunters too. The evidence shows that when it comes to hunting large game, men and women were about on even footing. Like literally 50% of large game hunting was done by men and 50% by women. And do you know where the idea of men hunter, women gatherer came from in the first place? It came from insecure male researchers introducing a bias. You see, what happened was a lot of this evidence comes from how people were buried with their hunting tools, right? Revered hunters were typically buried with their tools, but this is like tens of thousands of years ago. So stuff decays and falls apart. And what happened was when you found like an arrowhead next to a male corpse, the male researchers were like, yeah, that was definitely a hunter. But when they would find the same type of arrowhead or whatever buried next to a female corpse, they would be like, not sure that was a hunter. That might be some sort of kitchen implement. It was literally that type of insecurity that introduced this bias into the research in the first place. So yeah, we basically have scientific evidence that men have been insecure for 200,000 years. You know how we've all...
Yes. I fall in love with myself, and I want someone to share it with me. I want someone to share me with me.